A Course in Miracles, Questions and Answers. Is death real? Is death the final end? Based on A Course in Miracles teachings. Let's first take a quick, brief look at the benefits of meditation. Breathing affects the nervous system, brainwave patterns, the lymphatic system, blood flow, blood pressure, the heart, our emotional state, and more. In addition, we can survive 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, yet we can only survive for 3 minutes without oxygen. That's how critical oxygen, or breathing, is. In addition to that, Dr. Masaru Emoto of Japan proved in experiments that water responds very differently in extremely dissimilar ways to positive and negative words. So the oxygen we take in from our environment, our breathing, and the thoughts we think are very important. Meditation context. Keeping your attention on or in your body will keep you in the present moment. All guilt, regret, resentment, and anger is based on the past. All worry, anxiety, and fear is centered on some point in the future. In the present moment, none of that fear-based negativity exists. The Course in Miracles text is 1,754 pages long, and the main premise is nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Each of my meditation videos will all have from 7 to 10 A Course in Miracles quotations, and after each quotation I will have a short meditation. Here is the first Course in Miracles quotation. Quotation: Death is the central dream from which all illusions stem. It is the one fixed, unchangeable belief of the world that all things in it are born only to die. All this is taken as the will of God, and no one asks if a benign creator could will this. Of course, in miracles. We're going to use the 4-7-8 method. The 4-7-8 breathing technique involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 7 seconds, and then exhaling for 8 seconds. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation: Death is opposite to peace because it is the opposite of life, and life is peace. Awaken and forget all thoughts of death, and you will find you have the peace of God. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation: Rest in the Holy Spirit and allow His gentle dreams to take the place of those you dreamed in terror and in fear of death. He brings forgiving dreams. A Course in Miracles. In breath. hold, out breath. Quotation. Those who fear death see not how often and how loudly they call to it. For death is seen as safety, the great dark savior from the light of truth, the answer to the answer, the silencer of the voice that speaks for God. Yet the retreat to death is not the end of conflict. Only God's answer is its end. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. The curious belief that there is part of dying things that may go on apart from what will die does not proclaim a loving God nor re-establish any grounds for trust. If death is real for anything, there is no life. Death denies life. But if there is reality in life, death is denied. No compromise in this is possible. There is either a God of fear or one of love. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. Death is the thought that you are separate from your Creator. It is the belief conditions change, emotions alternate because of causes you cannot control, you did not make, and you can never change. It is the fixed belief ideas can leave their source and take on qualities the source does not contain. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. This world has many seeming separate haunts where mercy has no meaning and attack appears as justified, yet all are one, a place where death is offered to God's Son and to His Father. How foolish to believe that they could die. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. When your body and your ego and your dreams are gone, you will know that you will last forever. Perhaps you think this is accomplished through death, but nothing is accomplished through death, because death is nothing. Everything is accomplished through life, and life is of the mind and in the mind. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. There is no death because the living share the function their Creator gave to them. Life's function cannot be to die, it must be life's extension. Of course, in miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. The question posed at the beginning of this meditation in this video was, is death real? Is death the final end? The quotations that best elaborate on this will be shown here now. The text that I highlighted in green says, death is the central dream from which all illusions stem. It is the one fixed, unchangeable belief of the world that all things in it are born only to die. All this is taken as the will of God, and no one asks if a benign creator could will this. This quotation is saying that death is a dream, an illusion. It also questions the belief of the world that the will of God would be that things in the world are born only to die. Again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation in this video was, is death real? Is death the final end? And the text that I highlighted in green says, the curious belief that there is part of dying things that may go on apart from what will die does not proclaim a loving God. If death is real for anything, there is no life. Death denies life. But if there is reality in life, death is denied. No compromise in this is possible. This quotation seems to imply that the belief that the world has that a part of things that die might go on apart from what will die is a curious belief that does not proclaim a loving God. It also states that if death is real, then there is no life, as death denies life. Again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation in this video was, is death real? Is death the final end? And the text that I highlighted in green says, death is the thought that you are separate from your Creator. This quotation appears to be saying that death is only a thought or belief, and it is the thought that we are separate from our Creator. Again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation in this video was, is death real? Is death the final end? And the text that I highlighted in green says, this world has many seeming separate haunts, where mercy has no meaning, and attack appears as justified, yet all are one, a place where death is offered to God's Son and to His Father. How foolish to believe that they could die. This quotation first mentions attack appearing as justified in our world. It then says that our world is a place where death is offered to God's Son, that is, to the people of this world, and to the Father, and that it is foolish to believe that they could die. Again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation in this video was, is death real? Is death the final end? And the text that I highlighted in green says, when your body and your ego and your dreams are gone, you will know that you will last forever. This quotation implies that when our body is gone, and when our ego and dreams are gone, then we will know that we will last forever. This is surely after death, which many spiritual authors and seekers say is just a transition. Again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation in this video was, is death real? Is death the final end? And the text that I highlighted in green says, there is no death because the living share the function their Creator gave to them. This quotation answers the question posed by stating that there is no death. It says that this is true because the living share the function that their Creator gave to them. Space Eternity Meditation. We're going to take an imaginary trip with your consciousness, and during this imaginary trip, we'll leave your body behind. To begin, see yourself standing in a large grass field. You've been given the ability to travel into space and to go anywhere you like. You don't have to worry about oxygen, collisions, or anything else, because only your consciousness will be traveling into space. You now have the intention and decide to go straight up into the sky. You are now flying up into the clouds. You then decide to pause and take a look around. You look down and see cities, streets, towns, and hills. Now you have the intention and decide to continue flying straight up. You are now in outer space, and it's mostly darkness with lights from stars and distant planets. You then slow down, pause to a standstill, and take a look around. At this point, you decide to go straight ahead in a horizontal direction. Meteors, planets, and other phenomena are racing by you. You then slow down, pause to a standstill, and take a look around. You again decide to continue in the same direction. You continue, and you have now traveled a significant distance while moving extremely fast. You then think to yourself, when will I reach the end of this universe or of this solar system? How will I know when I've gone as far as I can possibly go? You then realize that either there is an upcoming wall of some sort, or space just continues on. And you think to yourself, if there is some sort of a wall ahead of me, what about straight above me? Is there some sort of a wall there too? And what about straight below me and behind me? Is this universe or solar system contained in some sort of a box? Is outer space confined by a box with walls? And if so, what is behind the walls of this box? You think to yourself, if outer space is confined by a box and I go through one of the walls of the box into outer space again, then when does that space end? Is there another box enclosing the box that I just exited from? You then realize that the only thing that makes sense is that there are no walls or boxes in outer space, that space just keeps on going endlessly for an infinite distance. You realize that infinity is the only thing that makes sense when it comes to outer space. Okay, we're going to do a timelessness meditation. And again, Take long, slow, deep breaths, but very relaxed. Don't make an effort of it. Okay, we're going to take a look at time now. To begin, see yourself standing on a long, almost endless sandy beach. You hear a loud, gentle, kind voice, and it says, each grain of sand on this beach is equal to a 100-year lifetime. And there are millions of beaches just like this one, with trillions of grains of sand on each one. How many lifetimes do you think you have? You have an infinite number of lifetimes for all of eternity. As you breathe in, see your consciousness diving down into a grain of sand. As you dive down into it, you see that everything is large, and you see that it resembles planet Earth. There are oceans and mountains and vegetations within this grain of sand that you just took a dive into. You keep diving down into the single grain of sand and feel as though you've been there before. It starts to look very familiar. You then realize that you will be starting a new life there, an entire new lifetime from birth to death. And you remember what you were told, that each grain of sand is equivalent to one lifetime, and that there are millions of beaches with trillions of grains of sand on each beach. You begin to sense what timelessness is. You begin to understand how time can just keep going on and continue endlessly, just like outer space. You realize that you are not the body that you see, that you instead are the spirit that surrounds the body. You remember that you've been told that you are energy, and that energy cannot be created or destroyed. You realize that you are an infinite being living in a timeless universe with no end. The body is just a costume.